In CFED's work, we focus in on not just poverty, but we look at the level of financial insecurity that affects households. And the reason why this is so important is that the number of households that are really struggling to make ends meet, but also to get ahead, is dramatically different than the 14% who are formally in poverty. So several years ago, as part of our Assets and Opportunities Scorecard, which is an annual benchmarking tool that shows how well each state builds and protects the assets of its residents, we created two new metrics that help to measure asset poverty and liquid asset poverty. And what that measures for the household is the ability of that household just to be at the poverty level for 3 months if their main source of income is disrupted. So they lose a job, they get sick, or something else happens. In the United States, 44% of American households are in liquid asset poverty. And that has changed the entire conversation. So instead of those poor people, it's half of us. Our whole task has been to say, how do we turn the safety net, which is how people think about income, into a ladder to economic opportunity? And how do we do that? Where each person starts on that continuum to build the assets that it takes. Now, the other equally important information we've learned through 2 decades of research, demonstrations, and experimentations is that assets are also hope in concrete form. We did a national demonstration almost 2 decades ago with individual development accounts, which are match savings accounts to build long-term assets, to buy a home, invest in education, or start or expand a business. One of the most unexpected outcomes from that research was that the people who were the lowest income saved the highest percentage of their resources. And when they were asked why they did that, they said that was the price of hope. About 4 months ago, we published a report called the Evergrowing Gap with the Institute for Policy Studies that basically showed that if Black wealth continued to grow at the rate it was growing today, it would take 228 years to equal the average wealth of a white household, and it would take Latino families 74 years. When you look at the enormity of this gap, you know that it's going to take multiple strategies over time. One of the areas we focus on most specifically is housing, because that's the major source of wealth, and Blacks and Latinos lag whites by about 30% in the rate of home ownership. So we look very explicitly about how do we look at tax policies and others that can address this divide.